Grnma. I'm a staff at Tyne District Hospital. I heard about GRNA a long time ago. I was a member since 2017. So I had a mild accident and I went to see a doctor, and the doctor told me that I needed a surgery. So that instant I was very sad and didn't know what to do. I contacted, I saw a lot of donations that GRNA has made to other members. And I contacted one of my friends. She is an executive at GRNA. She is a president. She is Catherine Techi. And she discussed the processes I should follow. I also contacted the regional secretary. He is also Clement Siebroni. He also told me the processes I should follow in order for GRNA to help me benefit. So I did all the processes and followed all the processes. When the doctor told me about the surgery, that time the money involved was too huge that I couldn't afford. And right now GRNA has made a donation of 60,000 Ghana cedis check here for me. And I really, really appreciate what they've done for me, because it's not easy to come by this amount. And the cost of the surgery is very expensive. So right now, I encourage other members or those who are about to join any association to join Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, because they are the mother association and they are the group that's take the members at heart and help them in times of needs or any predicaments. So I encourage other members to join GRNA. I thank the national president, Mrs. Perpetua, and all the other executives, both at the national level, regional level, and the district level. I thank my district president, who is at Tyne District Hospital, also for his help throughout the processes. May God richly bless you all. Thank you very much.
My name is Simon Monto, a principal enrolled nurse at Ada East District Hospital. I worked here for the past 11 years. In 2017, I sustained a terrible accident that almost took my life. I got diagnosed with spinal cord injury, and I've been put on treatment, went to Kolebu, and at the end of the day, I was informed I would be able to walk again. And I was almost like vegetated at one corner in a room. I'm not able to do anything. Almost everything, someone needs to help me do it. And by the grace of God, I wrote to GRNA for support to help me buy a motorable wheelchair that can assist me move around. And so it was granted, and they gave me 60,000 Ghana cedis. The wheelchair was purchased. That was last year, and I started working last year, June. It has been very helpful. For now, I move around myself. I do everything. It's like I've regained some freedom. And I want to thank the leadership, Madam Perpetua Ampofu and her team for initiating these great ideas that is helping everyone.
My name is Robert Monto. Simon is my brother. I just want to say a very big thanks to God for his life It is not easy. When I heard it and I came down to see, I thought he was almost gone. By the grace of God, he's alive. So I thank God for that. And my biggest thanks go to the leadership for the great work they've done. It is not easy. That huge sum of money, we thank God. His situation was very worse. Sometimes you look at it and, I mean, sleeping one place for a very long time, and then with the help of the wheelchair right now, his mobility has been comfortable, less independent, he can move around, and he has resumed work. I mean, we are so grateful. And also, my final thanks go to the hospital and every individual, the friend and colleagues who play a role to make sure that we put a smile on his face. And I think finally, my thanks go to especially Dr. Na for his instrumental participation throughout the tough time before and after. I say God bless him. Wherever he finds himself, may God bless him for his efforts. Thank you.
My name is Docia Kisseih. I am a staff midwife. I work under Tolong district in the northern region. I am a member of GRNA, and last year I have not been well. I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer, and actually during my diagnosis I was so devastated, so depressed, because we all know what the cost of breast cancer or any cancer condition in Ghana. And lo and behold, I was one person that actually didn't believe in the dream of GRNA. Before I was sick, I always had issues with my district chairman, Mr. Augustine. I was virtually at the edge of leaving the association. But then breast cancer came in, and that was my last resort. I quickly ran to my district chairman, spoke to him, and he told me all I needed was to write a letter. And within 2 months, I was given 50,000 Ghana cedis to help me with my treatment. And this 50,000 Ghana cedis has been amazing. It has gone a long way to help me during my treatment. And so today, I am speaking to other nurses, midwives, all health professionals. It is not because I have benefited. I am not the only nurse who benefited from this fund. Even other nurses that I met during my treatment have also benefited from this fund. And I am so excited. As at last year, fine. And I give all thanks to my district's executives, Mr. Augustine. He has been so wonderful. Aside the money, he calls day in, day out to check on me. The regional executives, they were always in my house to see how I'm faring. My national executives, you've all been wonderful. I want to say a very big thank you to all of you for the swift response when my chairman called. You obliged. And I am so thankful to my president, Ms. Perpetual. Actually, I'm one person that is so passionate now about breast cancer. I lost about 4 to 5 nurses during this journey. Yes. And it is my dream to meet my president so that we can dialogue or talk about other issues concerning breast cancer. So I want to say a very big thank you to Ms. Perpetual, all the executives. I say bravo for the good work done. But then the fund, please try to increase it. Try to give us more money. As I said, I still need money for treatment. Thank you. God bless everybody. God bless every nurse. Please do well as a nurse to join the association. It will be of good benefit to yourself and anybody. Thank you.
My name is Mary Amankwa. I'm a midwifery officer and I work in St. Anthony Hospital, Georgia. How it happened, I was diagnosed of having laryngeal throat cancer and I needed to go for some number of surgeries and then to get my artificial voice fixed. So talking about fund, I had issues with getting money for the surgery, so I came in contact with the health fund of the GRNA, and then they came in to help me. By God's grace, I've done 14 surgeries so far. I've gotten my voice fixed. I'm back to post and I'm working normally. Thank you, GRNA. Thank you, Ghana. Thank you for everything. God bless you.
I'm Anastasia Kom from Takoradi Government Hospital, and I'm in GRNA unit. I heard it through my local executives, that's Takoradi Hospital GRNA local executives. I told them about my condition, and from there they also took it from there to tell me about the GRNA health fund. It didn't take a long time. My local executives helped me write the letter to the regional executives. Then I think from the regional it went to the national. So I must say they have really helped me, and the time frame that they worked to the to bring me the funds was very short. So I'm encouraging the health workers to write letters to them when they are in health or they are having any health challenges. The funds has really impacted my treatment because it is the funds that I'm using to buy my medications that cost me a lot, and it's the same fund that has also helped me. I use the funds to do some lab investigation, that's MRI, CT scans, and other laboratory investigations. So the funds has really helped my health condition a lot. I thank the local, the STMA, the regional, and the national executive for bringing GRNA health fund to me. At least it has really helped me in my health condition. So I really thank them very much for their effort done on me through my condition.
I'm Ayamga Thomas Ayensongba. I'm an enrolled nurse at the Regional Hospital Bolgatanga here. About a year or 2 years ago, when we were newly posted, at that time I wasn't even a beneficiary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwife Association. I had a problem with my hip which I needed to undergo a hip replacement. It was very tough for me. I couldn't work, I couldn't come to work to, serve the people that I was trained to serve them in the hospital. So I needed about 72,000 for a surgery. I need to write a letter to the municipal executive of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwife Association. Then they took the initiative over, forwarded it to the regional executives and then to the national executives. I was supported with 50,000 to help me undergo my surgery. And now I'm fit and I'm back to the hospital serving and saving lives as I was trained to. I don't need to talk much, but I would like to use this opportunity to urge my fellow nurses, those who are yet doing their orientations and those who are outside, to not look elsewhere, but come to join us because this initiative is very massive.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, fellow comrades, and everyone around the world who is watching us live from the National Secretariat of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. This is the special edition of the Nurses Cafe. And you know what we're doing this special edition for? It's to mark the 65th anniversary of the only Nurses Association that stands tall on the continent, the Ghana Registered and Nurses Midwives Association. You know how mouthful this name can be. But interestingly, today we have a packed edition where we are going to have special guests to tell us exactly how we even came about this whole name. And then, of course, we are going to listen to the planning committee behind the activities of the 65th anniversary. I'm very certain that you are going to have a very fun-filled and thrilling and learning episode of the Nurses Cafe. My name is Kelvin Odonko. You can call me Kobe Blay. I'm a registered mental nurse and a member of the National Media Committee. We'll take a very short message from the president of the GRNMA, Madam Perpetua Ofusu-Ampofo. Now, Ofori Ampofo, sorry. And let's go and have the message.
Good morning, comrades. I'm happy to come to you this morning to wish you a happy anniversary. Today is 20th March 2025, and in the history of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, we are 65 years today. Founded on March 20th, 1960, we have come a long way in the 65 years of the association, leading with vision, ensuring the welfare of members, and ensuring that we are players within the health space. Today, as we mark the 65th anniversary of the association, we have set out plans for bigger celebration on Friday the 28th. So on this very day of our birth, I wish you all a happy anniversary, and I call on you to wish each member of the association a happy anniversary. We have a lot to be proud of. Our leaders from 1960 to date have done wonderfully for the association in terms of welfare for members and ensuring that we position ourselves in such a place to influence policy within the health sector. Today, as we mark our 65th anniversary, I call on all of you to feel very proud because we have our GRNA, the only GRNA and no other. We should be proud of ourselves. I wish you a happy 65th anniversary and hope to see you all in person and online on 28th. See you.
Look at how far we have come from 1960 to date. But that story is not for me to tell because it's quite huge, it's quite significant, and there is a lot of learning that has to be done. But before we get to that, I would want to introduce the planning committee that is in charge of activities to mark the 65th anniversary, and I'm sure comrades will be interested to know, and we have our fellow comrades making sure that this activity comes to fruition. And so on my left, my mother, Colonel Vida Otu. I'll give you the chance to introduce yourself. And then my brother Enoch, and then my fellow committee member, who is also a regional executive of the Greater Accra region. Welcome, my senior comrade, and then fellow comrades. Yes.
Thank you.
Right. So, can we have the introduction of yourselves, please?
Good afternoon to our viewers, our listeners, our senior colleagues out there, and all those who are labored in the vineyard of nursing and midwifery, and those who are still laboring on. I am Colonel Vida Otu, retired, former Director of Nursing and Midwifery Services of the Ghana Armed Forces, and the chairperson for the planning committee of our 65th anniversary. Thank you.
All right, my brother.
Yes, I am Enoch Chey, a registered nurse, the chairman for Okankwe District of GRNMA, and a member of the planning committee, the secretary.
Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Solomon Ajao. I happen to be part of the planning committee as a member, and also the secretary for Greater Accra region.
Is going into the 65th anniversary, and it's exciting to know that you are in charge of the planning. Now, I would want to have an overview. I mean, our viewers want to have an overview of the planned activities for the anniversary. Any of you can take that for us.
Okay, so the 65th anniversary has a line of programs that we have put in place to ensure that we go through these celebrations. And so today we are having this cafe. On Friday, that is 28th of March 2025, we will have the main anniversary celebrations. And that one, we will do it at 10. And we will air it on all our social media platforms. Then on Saturday, we will have a donation at Psychiatric Hospital Pantine. And then after that, we will have the Thanksgiving service at Mary Mother of Good Counsel Catholic Church, where we will thank God for how far He's brought us and then rededicate the association to God. So these are the line of programs that we have in place to ensure that we go through these anniversary celebrations.
Looks very straightforward. Like we're having the activity today, we move on for a donation, we'll have a main celebration, and we'll have some Thanksgiving service and all that, right? I mean, that sounds interesting, but kind of what really has necessitated these activities? 65th, and so...
I believe, like the president said in his speech, we have come so far.
Yeah.
This journey has not been easy. And in our normal lives, there are stages in life. So at every stage, you take a break, you take stock. And we believe that 65 years in the life of an association is not something that we can take for granted. Yeah. So we believe there is an opportunity for all of us to look into the past, listen to where we started from, and then presently where we are, and look into the future with hope and working with God. So that's why we are just reminding ourselves that there's still a journey ahead of us.
Now, I'll be coming to you, Solo, to tell us, I mean, how members can participate in this, right? Aside the fact that it has to be live and all that, but I want to stay with Colonel again. We understand we need to take stock and all that. What exactly then are we expecting this event to, what impact should we expect from these activities?
In every journey, or in every event, there are lessons to be learned. And you learn it from experiences. That's why people write their autobiography and people write people's biographies. And as up and young coming ones, we have to learn or to know how this journey started and where we are, so that we don't take things for granted. And that's why this afternoon we are bringing on board very senior people, seasoned, who have worked this way as president, as national executive members, to bring us, to wake us up again, to bring us back to our roots, where we will look back and we have to, the foundation that they built, we need to build good structures on them, that this association will go far. And I believe that as the story is shared, it will also impact on others. What can I do to help nursing and midwifery in Ghana? And for the fact that one accord, we can achieve much. Exactly. So for those of us who don't even know where to turn to, we are using this opportunity to say that let every nurse, let every midwife come join, put our hands on the plow and push nursing and midwifery. Very positive impact. We expect people to be able to know our history and people to be able to be motivated to add on to what is already existing.
Talking of history, I think that one of the best pieces of history now about the association is embedded in the diary, the 2025 diary. And I'm proud to say that I've received mine from my district. And so if you're watching us, the short code and you get activated. Whoever is in charge at your district will take you through and help you to activate. So I have mine here. It's so beautiful. It has the history and pictures and all that in here. For those of you saying 65 only diary, go and get it first and we'll talk about the rest later. I've seen beautiful pictures of our current national executives, beautiful pictures of our past presidents, and the story and the benefits and everything. Contact details of all regional executives. Charlie, it'll be massive. Well done, guys. Those who put together. Maybe after this hype, I should get one more.
And maybe to add to yours, there's also a history book.
Oh,
yes.
Yes.
From 1960 to 2000.
2020.
Yes.
There's a history book, and I think as nurses, we need to get copies for ourselves.
Exactly.
When you visit the souvenir shop, they are there.
Exactly.
So that you can read and speak to your own history, wherever you find yourself.
Exactly. I think I have a copy. So thank you, Kenneth, for that addition. Now, Mr. Ajao, can you tell us how members can participate in the 65th anniversary celebrations?
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to say congratulations to us all. We are 65 years today, and we are commemorating this activity with a lot of events as espoused by my committee secretary and chair. And in terms of participation, everyone is invited to be part on our media platforms. When you go to the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association's official handle on Facebook, on YouTube and Instagram, you get snipers of the activities that will be carrying out. But we must say that the commemorative day is 28, as stated earlier, and we have notable dignitaries gracing the occasion. We have the WHO Country Director for Ghana coming in as a chairperson for the event. We have the Honorable Minister for Health as a special guest of honor. We have the Director General for Ghana Health Service coming in as well. And we have our very own National Council. We have past national executives. We have present reps from the specialized societies coming in as well. So we will urge our colleagues out there to follow us on our social media handles, and they should book a date or log it on their date to be part of this event.
All right. So I got the information that it's not just a diary, but notepad and casa. So
exactly.
This one be notebook.
Yes.
Quite a huge one at that. So if you are watching us from anywhere around the globe, it is the special edition of the Nurses Cafe as part of celebration for the 65th anniversary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. And the most important part of this program is the special guest we have in the house.
Yeah.
To be honest, this part of the show was not supposed to be handled by me, because I think that someone could do much justice. But it's a privilege given me and an honor to do this part that will be coming in, to host a past president who was very instrumental, extremely instrumental, and to be able to take us through the events of the day. And he's not the only person. So stick and stay with us. The planning committee is here, and they've been briefing us about the activities. Good afternoon also to Madam President Petro Foyampov, wherever you are. Thank you for giving us the chance to do this. All right. So my last question is to all of you, so that you can take leave of us kindly, and then we can be able to go that. Now you've spoken to us about how members can engage. We are thinking of taking some few questions that are coming in. But someone is asking, Kennel is asking, when you joined the GRNA Association, and how has it been beneficial to you since you joined?
I would say that when the military, with my military background, you know, we are not supposed to be this union, you know, part of any union. So when I took over as director nursing, in fact, before that, when I was head of nursing at the military hospital, that's when I bumped into the activities of the association, and I was invited to the launch of Greater Accra
original person.
Yes,
Week
nurses
week
celebration. Celebration. And from there, I was invited as a keynote speaker.
Exactly.
So I then became closer. That's why I got to first meet the then president, Dr. Asante Krobia.
Yes, yes.
So I got closer to him. We started chatting. And I got the idea that no, it's not all about Chobwe, yes, right? But it's something that brings nurses together, share ideas, look at each other's future. So I became interested, and we began to talk. And that's how I entered into the Ghana, the association. So our first major event was in, I think, 2011. But I started interacting with him around 2008, 2009. So that has been, since then, I've got stuck to the association. It has broadened my scope. It has helped me build a lot of networking.
Exactly.
And as military personnel, we started learning from our civilian counterparts the way they do things. And also to say that we support them when they go on strike. We don't go on strike, so we take them. we stand in the gap, exactly, at least for the nation. But I would say that it's been very helpful. And now I'm happy to see that the military, police, nurses, and midwives are all part of the association. And we are learning. We are learning a lot, and it's impacting. So now, even when you are going to Kolebu, you don't need to go and beg. You just take a phone and you call. So and so I'm referring, and that's part of the networking. And I want to take this opportunity personally to thank the association for the various platforms they've given me and for the various roles they've allowed me to participate in. And I'm so grateful.
We are so grateful to the planning committee also for having graced us in the first part of our discussion. And so we encourage you to tell a friend, to tell another comrade that we are having a very special edition of the Nurses Cafe. We are discussing activities to mark the 65th anniversary of the Ghana Registered Nurse and Midwife Association. But most importantly, we need to understand where we have come from. We need to know what was the foundation like and how have we been molded to this far. Thank you so much, but stick and stay. Share the link, go to Facebook, go to YouTube, and leave a comment, question, or concern. We will be right back after this. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Good morning, comrades. I'm happy to come to you this morning to wish you a happy anniversary. Today is 20th March 2025, and in the history of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, we are 65 years today. Founded on March 20th, 1960, we have come a long way in the 65 years of the association, leading with vision, ensuring the welfare of members, and ensuring that we are players within the health space. Today, as we mark the 65th anniversary of the association, we have set out plans for bigger celebration on Friday the 28th. So on this very day of our birth, I wish you all a happy anniversary, and I call on you to wish each member of the association a happy anniversary. We have a lot to be proud of. Our leaders from 1960 to date have done wonderfully for the association in terms of welfare for members and ensuring that we position ourselves in such a place to influence policy within the health sector. Today, as we mark our 65th anniversary, I call on all of you to feel very proud because we have our GRNA, the only GRNA and no other. We should be proud of ourselves. I wish you a happy 65th anniversary and hope to see you all in person and online on 28th. See you.
We don't know who may need help today or tomorrow, and what may happen to you. Without them, I think by now I should have been home. I can't do anything. So I want to take this opportunity to urge all my colleagues, those who are already in the profession and those who are yet coming, that we look no elsewhere. Rather join the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwife Association, because they care about us and they care about our well-being. I will also use this opportunity to extend my gratitude and big thanks to the municipal executives, to the regional executive, and to the national executive, especially to Mrs. Perpetua, for embarking on this initiative to help, curtail the health issues or needs of our nurses in Ghana. It is really a very big impact that they have given us. And I want to say a big thank you. Thank you for everything and for the support. Thank you. Long live the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwife Association. Long live also. Thank you.
I'm Monica Kyokon, a staff midwife from Secretary Kumewu, and I'm a member of Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwife Association. I have benefited from their health fund, and it really helps, and it's true. I entreat all midwives and nurses to be part of this union. And I'm taking this opportunity once again to thank all the executives members, all those who make it up to this union. Thank you.
My name is Kennedy Wule, a member of GRNMA. I benefited from health fund when I was involved in accidents. The fund came at the time I needed it most. I'll first of all thank the district executive for giving me the direction to fill the form to get the fund. I'm a senior community health nurse, currently working in Nyimbali Chips. The fund came that I needed it most. So I'll thank the national executive, the regional executive, and the district executive for timely coming into my aid the time I needed this money. So I stand on the behalf of my family to thank all the national executive, the regional to the district for supporting me. He actually aided me out to pay all my debt that I owe to my friends. So I thank everybody, and I encourage my colleague nurses who are also in other categories to actually join this our noble institution, that is GRNMA, so that we can all benefit from this. Other people are somewhere, they are not getting this one.
So we are back after the first session with the planning committee of the 65th anniversary celebration of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwife Association. I had the privilege of engaging 3 guests who know the nitty-gritty of the activities to mark the 65th anniversary. But that is just activities to mark the celebration. How about the story from which the Nurses and Midwives Association have come so far? The foundation, what has gone in, even the name change. Some of you don't know about that. I remember so well. But I remember very well that at the time I was creeping into the association proper, there was this man I was wondering, why is he leading nurses and midwives when there are so many women? But he was so distinguished and carried everybody along. Today, we remember him so much, and not in absence, but in presence. And it's important we celebrate him. Stick and stay. Alongside him is another woman who bridged from one administration to the other and was significant in the public relation activities of the association. Today, they are in the house, and it's the first time we are having past executive, past president, to tell us the story as we have been hearing or reading. I don't have that privilege to host them, but I'm so honored to. Welcome, special guest. Everybody is waiting for this opportunity to leave their questions, to ask you, where have we come from? Where are we now? What do you think where we are going? But the most important part of the story, we want to hear from Daddy. Evangelist doctor, right? Yes, so we're going to go straight into our conversation. And I'll start with you. I want you to do the introductions yourself.
Well, thank you very much for pulling me down here to tell just part of the story of the 65 years journey the association has traveled through. I would like to use the unique technologies to describe anniversary. So I would say it is the software anniversary of the founding of the association. That's the 65th. And I happen to be the 8th president on the roll for the association. And my name is Dr. Kweku Asante Krobia, a Methodist evangelist, as you have put it. So I must say I am just excited that I'm privileged to be part of the celebration at this time. 5 years ago, during the Diamond Jubilee celebrations, I had just exited office. And it was marvelous that I was pulled in to support all the activities that when we went through. And it was marvelous. So I believe that this one too will be a very special one, because you have galvanized support from so many quarters, and you have kickstarted your game also, pulling everybody on board. Congratulations.
Thank you
for that. So I'm just ready to allow you to have me do and say whatever you want. So I'm at your service, sir.
Thank you so much. Yes, madam.
Good day to all viewers. I'm Yvonne Graham Hayfron, a former public relations officer and a manager being invited here. It's a privilege to be here to talk to everyone, especially about the conflicts between managers and unionists and things. Yeah. That is exactly what I'm going to do today. It's been a long way. Like Kweku rightly said, we've come a long way, and it looks like things keep changing. Change is inevitable.
Okay.
So it will have to come, and things are really changing. But then, how do we embrace the change to strengthen our force, to forge on into the future? So that is exactly what we need to sit down and consider. Because if we don't embrace the change, it will be like it used to be this way. So we expect it to be that way, but the things are changing.
All right.
And we need to forge on.
All right. You are so on point with what you had to discuss. It tells me, rightly so, how perfect you executed your work as a PRO. But then you were PRO of one administration to the other, right? Were you were with Mrs. Alice Alote?
Yes, but I didn't move on to Kweku.
Okay.
So I was only with...
Okay, and then you transferred the power, right? So we have a very special video of Mrs. Alice Alote. Okay. We are going to watch that. And Mrs. Alice Alote was the 7th president.
Yes.
Right. Good. So the 7th president has a message, and we will take that insert documentary, and the production is ready. If you are here watching, it is the special edition of the Nurses Cafe, and we are having conversation with the Honorable Evangelist Dr. Kweku Asante Krobia, the 8th president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, and Madame Yvonne Hayfron. The middle name, I forgot it.
Graham Hayfron.
Graham, right. That's nice. Graham Hayfron, who was also the public relations officer, going to tell us about management and unionism, how we're going to address that conflict, and also understanding the story of where we've come from. But then, let's go and watch this video of Ms.
Good morning, comrades and midwives across our dear country, Ghana, and most especially members of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. I bring you warm greetings as we celebrate our 65th anniversary of our being in existence. Happy birthday to us all. On the 20th of March 1960, the Ghana Registered Nurses Association, as it was then called, was given birth to under the presidency of Dr. Docia Kisseih, with the aim of bringing all nurses and midwives under one umbrella to seek our welfare, advance quality higher education, improve condition of service, and enhance quality health care to our nation. We are guided by our Constitution, the Code of Ethics, and the standards of nursing and midwifery practice. I am the 7th president of the association after Dr. Docia Kisseih, Professor Ayodele Akiwumi, Mrs. Sarah Addison, Mrs. Edith Korte, Mrs. Comforter Siama, and Mrs. Emma Helen Banga, all of blessed memory. Each of these presidents, together with their executives council and team, uniquely played meaningful roles in building and shaping our noble profession and association. From a very humble beginning, where meetings were held in classrooms and delegates and executives slept in dormitories of schools, to the present day, where meetings are held in our own built and well-furnished conference rooms and hostels, and even world-class hotels. Indeed, we have come a long way, and each passing moment, things are getting better and better. May I take this opportunity to salute our gallant predecessors. The association has grown from strength to strength. As our motto states, unity is strength. They fostered good relationship with government in power and our employers, and influenced policies on health-related issues, as well as affiliating with international bodies such as the National Council of Nurses, Commonwealth Nurses and Midwifery Federation, Public Service International, to mention a few. Locally, they are aligned with other sister labor organizations for mutual collaboration. I was elected in the year 2003 when the migration rate of nurses and midwives was very high due to poor condition of service and the general economic hardship in the country. The image of nurses and midwives was also poor. Together with my team and with the support of our members, we continued from where my predecessor left to implement the Nurses Fund, establish our website, reinstate the Ghanaian Nurse magazine, commence the regional secretariat hostel projects, secure bargaining certificates, and register as a union, negotiate for the single span salary, and interacted with the public through programs such as Mankomo to redeem our image, to mention but a few. The presidents after me, with their team, have and continue to project the association higher and higher. To Dr. Kweku Asante-Korobia and his team, I say well done. To Mrs. Perpetual Fori Ampofo, our current president, and her team, I say Ahiko. To national, regional, district, local executive, past and present, kudos for the good work done and continue to do. To all our members, we are grateful for allowing us to serve you. We have every cause to celebrate our day
and we thank God for how far He has brought us and continue to lead us. As we celebrate, let us also ponder and reflect on how we have performed in our area of service delivery. We have been and continue to be exposed to very high professional education. Does the public feel it? If the answer is no, then let's work to bridge the serious gap between training and practice. For, as you are aware, the public judge us by the standard of care we render at the bedside. We are also grateful to successive government for providing us enabling environment to unionize. However, we will urge the current government to create the enabling environment with very attractive conditions of service to attract and retain nurses and midwives. Our numbers should not scare them in paying us the right remuneration, for a healthy nation is a wealthy nation, as the saying goes. We, being the single most largest health professionals, play a very crucial role in the health delivery system, and our welfare must be paramount. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to say a few words. I wish you all well. Please take good care of yourselves and enjoy your celebration. Long live GRNA. Long live Ghana. God bless us all.
All right, so we had that message from Mrs. Alice Alote, and you know her and her stand on issues in terms of conditions of service, and you would quite remember how significant she was also during the transition from the health sector salary structure to the single spine salary structure and all that. All these have culminated into the 65 years of our existence, of our mightiness. But then we have the in-house story. So, Dr. Kweku Asante Krobia, you heard from Mrs. Alice Alite. What do you remember? What do you remember about her and transitioning to you? What were some of the significant activities that you do remember?
Right, thank you very much. Picking it up from there, I would say Mrs. Alote was had a personality that inspired most of us. I had my little fears about the position I picked up as the General Secretary of the Association. Yeah. But I must say that it was Mrs. Alote that put me and pushed me into the rare baptism of fire. And I picked up some, institutional memory from her, moving on. And that inspired me so much. And it put a lot of confidence in me to solidify my position as the General Secretary of the Association. I was emboldened by her, and you always managed to pull me along, because as General Secretary, I was the closest person actually to Mrs. Alote, and I consulted her every day. Fortunately, for me, we lived just about apart in the neighborhood where we were. And so it was even less, just about 1.5 kilometers apart. So every morning I would go to Mrs. Alote and consult her on the activities that we needed to do. And he was my inspirer. So I do remember vividly the time that we had to take up the challenge of getting involved in the design of the single spine salary structure when we were moving, was moving from the GUS through I must say it was a very tight route to travel. And we met government appointees, and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission was also there as the referee, but it was actually standing in for the government. And the single span salary structure design, we were supposed to stand firm and defend the proposal time. And situations at that time did not permit a smooth, transition. This for nurses and midwives. Then we are going to be part of this negotiation, because he considered that if that was not going to be, it was a betrayal to nurses and midwives, considering what nurses and midwives do at the front of patients' care in the health sector. So going forward, at the end of it all, we're able to pick up what actually nurses deserve. When you consider what the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission determined at that time for public sector workers generally in this country. And it was a good fight we put up. We didn't pick up what was actually the best for us all, but as the negotiations went, I will say that we won the battle, because none of the trade union groups for the professionals earned that they put on the table. But I must say that for nurses and midwives, ours wasn't quite bad, even though nurses and midwives did not agree with us at that time, that we had got for them what they wanted. But moving from the negotiations of the first with the salaries from the nurse, with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission negotiation with the single span salary structure, we also planned a lot of activities that put nurses at the forefront of all things. It was under the leadership of Mrs. Alice Dakwa Asare Alote that we earned the accolade of the best, the most vibrant professional association and trade union within the health sector, because we used our numbers to push forward what we thought nurses and midwives deserved. And it was for the first time in the history of the association, we had to put up the conditions of service. It did not see, its acceptance didn't see the light of day during the time of Mrs. Asare Alote. So, but it was during her tenure that we were able to put together all that was necessary for us to push to government for the first conditions of service. So during my term as the president, that was the time that it was successfully passed. So we had our first conditions of service during my time, but it was Mrs. Asare Alote's time that we went through all the negotiations, fought it out with government, and we developed that paper. But government agreed to give that to us just a year after Mrs. Asare Alote had completed a term of office.
Okay. Evangelist, doctor. I don't want you to roll into yours for now. Okay. Let's continue to take some more tributes of to Ms. Alice Alote. I mean, everything you're saying now, I didn't know about all these things. So I want to go to the PRO at the time. What do you fondly remember about Mrs. Alice Alote? I mean, during her period, because we know her to be one of the most vibrant. And Dr. Kwaku Asante-Krobia has clearly espoused that. For you, what do you also remember
I remember she was a strong woman.
Yeah.
Very resilient. And in all her resilience, she was very fair.
Okay.
She was fair in everything she did. And if you were doing something wrong, she would call you and point it out to you. So she was not one to talk about you behind your back. She was there to make sure you're on the right path. And for some of us, she was a mentor.
Wow.
Yes, because we used to observe and then try to emulate what she was. But she was human as well. And you know, with human beings, we are bound to have lapses here and there. But then her good deeds and her strength overshadowed the others. So we saw her as a strong woman. There was no barrier before her.
Wow.
She will crush the barrier. If she wanted something, she made sure she had it. And she would push. She could call me from Cape Coast and tell me, oh, when you close from work, come. You're going to TV3. You have a program in the evening.
And what would you say?
This is the topic. What can you say? We're fighting for the welfare of nurses. The association was mainly set up for welfare of nurses.
Exactly.
And that was paramount to her. Anything that would push the nursing and midwifery business forward was what she stood for. So I would say that, in short, she was good.
Wow. 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 So if you're still here, we try to use the first few minutes to honor our past presidents, and the one that comes right before Dr. Kwaku Asante-Krobia, who is Mrs. Alisalote. One of the significant statements I heard was, she crashes every barrier. And you can see here, I think she was my director at the time at the psychiatric hospital.
Okay.
And when you meet her, she's so calm, nice, very prim and proper, the dressing outfit, uniform, so good. And then when she starts to get things done, then you realize that, oh, hold on. So yes, we are very much grateful to you, Mrs. Alisalote, for having inspired all of us, and inspired you for you to inspire all of us too. We are very much grateful wherever you are. And thank you so much for sending those voice notes. We are going to show her pictures, her first day at school and all that. We have all of you, your pictures in school. But then we will want to go back in time. Then we come to where you started working on conditions of service, and one of the things that you did that we are enjoying now, the structures that we have. But take us into time. What is the history of the association? We want to hear it from you.
Well, the association we are calling Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association didn't exist before the year 1960.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, so, but before the time, there was the Qualified Registered Nurses Association, Qualified Registered Nurses, and then the State Registered Nurses, who were actually at the forefront of nursing practice. And so, at the time, it was considered necessary for an association, a professional association, to be formed so that we could bring all nurses and midwives who were in practice under one umbrella and constitute a strong body that could negotiate for better conditions of service for these practitioners. And so the two prominent groups at that time, the Qualified Registered Nurses, that are QRNs for short, and then the State Registered Nurses, the SRNs. joined forces together. The qualified registered nurses group was led by one Mr. Mettle-Nunoo, and then the state registered nurses group was led by Dr. Docia Kisseih.
Okay.
And so form an association. Through negotiations, a consensus was agreed and the two merged and joined together to form the first professional association of nurses and midwives at that time, which we named the Ghana Registered Nurses Association. So Dr. Docia Kisseih became the first president of the association. And then they formed an executive committee that was responsible for the running of the day-to-day activities of the association. And at that time, they fought very well to gain the recognition of government. And somewhere along the way, because of the activities that they had to undertake to ensure that nurses and midwives got that we wanted from government that was befitting their status as an acceptable remuneration, the association decided to register to become a trade union. And so from that time, it was not just a professional association, but a trade union as well.
So Doc, it means that it wouldn't have mean much if it was just an association.
Yes, it wouldn't have been the case. Because as professional association, you will have to be concerned with all the modalities associated with your professional practice.
Okay.
And then you will look at what you will give to your paymaster and whether the paymaster will give you the appropriate remuneration or the recognition commensurate with what you are giving to the paymaster or not. It didn't matter at all.
Okay.
And also you look at the academic and professional development of your people, which was also important so that we could enhance our skills for practice. But to become a trade union meant that you gain recognition under the tenets of the Ghana labor law, so that you receive the power to do what a non-trade union group will do. That would mean that you stand in the best position to force government to bring his hand down, or the paymaster to bring his hand down on some of the things that they would dictate for any group of workers.
Okay.
And so it will mean that becoming a trade union, you will take advantage of all the privileges that should be accorded a group calling itself a trade union group. And so that became the reality. And so our front became stronger when it became necessary for us to negotiate for conditions of service for or any other incentive for nurses and midwives.
Because was there no conditions of service before this association or the union became what it was?
No, there was no well-designed, structured, recognized conditions of service. What existed at that time is what I will call a collective agreement.
Okay.
When the paymaster will just decide what to give you, whether you like it or not, you will take it.
Wow.
And then by becoming a trade union, you are empowered to force the hand of government to do something for you under the tenets of the labor law that had been promulgated. And so that spurred us on to move to higher grounds. And from that time on, the face of nursing changed, because we wouldn't just accept what the paymaster will give you. We will run at the back of the powers that or the privileges that the the labor law will give you, so that you can get more or less what you want. It was very difficult actually to break the high hand of government or the paymaster, but some way, somehow, we had a certain locus of recognition that we took advantage of in becoming a trade union. So as time went on, some challenges reared their heads because when the association was becoming more powerful, the paymasters of the time and the government started their divide and rule tactics. And so
what were some of that?
Well, some of the divide and rule tactics was aimed at deflating the momentum that nurses and midwives had at that time to push government for what we wanted. So what government sought to do was to look at certain unique group within nursing and empowering them to stand against the force of the association itself. And so that was the time that some groups also came up. Then we had at that time somewhere along the line, by the powers that the Ghana Registered Nurses and Nurses Association had, were able to we made a strong appeal to government to stop the training of the enrolled and community health nurses, otherwise known as the auxiliary nurses at that time. But they didn't like the name auxiliary nurses because they thought it was demeaning, but that was also in the statute books that so long as your training that you acquired did not lift you up to the professional level, you cannot be a professional nurse. And so some way, somehow, these enrolled and community health nurses, but their training was de-emphasized at that time, so we stopped training them. But we had a cohort of enrolled and community health nurses, and these were the people that government used to divide the front of nurses and midwives. So they managed to support them to form an association called Enrolled and Community Health Nurses Association. And it was beginning to undermine the work that the Mother Association was doing. In fact,
so they were not doing, they are not fighting for themselves?
We were fighting for them, but some way, somehow, they thought that they constituted themselves as a pressure group. They thought that the emoluments and the remuneration for nurses, the professional nurses, were higher than theirs, but they considered themselves as equal to the professional nurses when it came to remuneration and the giving of incentives. But you all know that because of the rank and file was not equal, there couldn't have been that remuneration that would be given to qualified, professional nurses will be given to, the same will be given to the auxiliaries. But this is what they considered to be a disadvantage to them. They felt they were being undermined. In fact, before we ourselves came to nursing, we learned from history that pressure group existed, but they were not they didn't constitute themselves as a strong group that was at that time fighting against us until we came into the association as prominent members of the union. But we learned that even at a point in time they had taken the professional association to court.
Wow.
On a number of occasions.
This should be like how many years ago?
Yeah, that was in the 70s.
Wow.
In the 70s, in the mid-70s thereabout. There was a feud between the Enrolled and Community Health Nurses Group and the professional, as part of the association. I do remember and recall from history that there was a bitter banter between them, but some way, somehow, it was resolved. And the Mother Association was able to carry them along with them. And so they were, the association was a bit better. But during the time that we also came in, as I said earlier, the divide and rule tactics reared its head again. And it was more serious at that time. And so they even decided to secede from the Mother Association. And that was not meant to be at that time. In fact, it was during the time of Mrs. Alice Dakwa Asarialote that this group decided to secede from the Mother Association. Just at the time that Mrs. Asarialote was about to exit office as the president, they succeeded in breaking away. Wow. Yes, as Road and Community Health Nurses Association. They ceased to be part of the Mother Association. So when I came into office as president, that was a big challenge to me, how to dissuade them from leaving, because they were actually at that time putting up the structures with the support of government and the paymasters. One leg was in the association, the other leg was in the Mother Association, and the other leg was a way out. Yeah. And it was the toughest challenge to us at that time. But we didn't succeed in getting them to stay. They left. And so we had to contain them on some aspect of the struggle for better conditions of service under the association business that we did. We came together as a group, however, but they had at that time also succeeded in becoming a distinct group. So they existed. So as time went on, we realized that they were becoming stronger and stronger because the return of the training of the road and community health nurses had become a reality. Yes. But we fought that against government that you shouldn't give them the name nurse, the title nurse, the nomenclature title description as nurses. In fact, at the time that the training was resumed, Mrs. Dakwa Asarialote was in office. So the front of the Road and Community Health Nurses Association became stronger because of the resumption of their training, because they produced that caliber of nurses again. They were adding up to their numbers. And because they had already taken a stand as non-professionals, they wouldn't want to belong to the professional association, which is the Ghana Registered Nurses Association. So we managed to put up with all the troubles and the shenanigans that became part of the day. But there was nothing we could do because the labor law grants that even if you are a consolidated body at a point in time, and just 2 or 3 members out of the group who want to come out and form the association, the labor law grants them the powers. And so we had to put up with them. As time went on, another group also decided to play the same game, and these were the midwives amongst us. Somehow, some way, somehow, they thought that because they were midwives, the core functions of the midwives was quite a bit different from the core functions of the nurses in general practice. And so they thought that they were unique. And so there were certain decisions that were taken that disfavored them. And so they thought that they could also break away and form their association. This was also a bitter part of the arrangements that we had to put in place to get the association business going. We tried to restrain them. At a point in time, they saw a good reason to remain, but the paymasters and the government at that time were at their game again, playing that same rule, divide and rule tactics. And in the end, they also succeeded in breaking away.
Ooh.
So we realized at a point in time that we had about 4 main groups of nurses and midwives. 4 main groups in the sense that the traditional training of midwives, the traditional group of midwives. In fact, when you go through the history, the association was even formed a few years earlier than the Ghana Registered Nurses Association came to be. But these were midwives who mainly were in private practice. There was the training of midwives. There was a midwife group cohort at that time that was trained, and most of them were in private practice and not actually in government service practice. They had the association. And so at the earlier times, it was the Ghana Registered Nurses Association and those Midwives Association until the Enrolled and Community Health Nurses Association also was formed. And then this group of midwives also, who were part of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, also decided to secede. They called themselves Government Registered Midwives Association. And so their threats and attempt to come out of the mother association gained roots, and so they also left. So at a point in time, we had the 4 groups of nurses and midwives associations, and government was using the others to divide the front of the nurses and midwives. But we were solid on the ground. That is, the Ghana Registered Nurses Association was solid on the ground. In fact, when we started facing the threats of midwives breaking away and forming the association, there was some midwives actually remained with the association, and it was this group of midwives who remained with the Ghana Registered Nurses Association that also reasoned that they were not feeling the comfort, the desired professional comfort to be with an association that called itself Ghana Registered Nurses Association, when in fact we had midwives with them. And so they brought up a proposal that we change the name from Ghana Registered Nurses Association to Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association.
Let me hold you there. The story of the change. The story of the change. Right. Please stay right there. Right. Now, let me switch quickly to Madam Yvonne. When all these challenges were coming in, I mean, from this unique story, I mean, I'm learning it so new. When all these things were coming in, how was it? How were you guys taking it? Because you were putting everything together for the welfare of nurses. I mean, you had genuine concern for everyone. Yeah. How did you take it? How did you manage? How did you move through all these?
It was not easy initially. But like he says, we started as an association, and then we joined the trades union. And one thing that we did earlier on was to get the bargaining certificate for the association.
When was the bargaining certificate?
It was during Imabanga's time. Just before.
Sure. Okay. And the bargaining certificate does what exactly?
The bargaining certificate gives you the power to negotiate with government.
Okay.
So in the initial stages, when the enrolled community health nurses wanted to, it did not start with them actually. Wow. It started with the physician assistants, the medical assistants. They were the first group to break off.
Because at the time they were nurses,
yes,
and they move on to do a post-basic program. Good. Okay.
So they started, then the community health nurses, and like he says, they were dependent on their numbers because there are a lot of them, and their excuse was where they are working. They are working in the hinterland.
Okay.
They had to reach areas. When you go, that's where you find them. So that is what gained the listening ear of the government to push them on. But in the initial stages, they were still bargaining with our certificate.
How?
So
you have your certificate.
They'll come and negotiate.
With the Mother Association?
Yes, with the Mother Association.
Interesting.
Yes. And it went on from there. But then the forming of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, the changeover of the name. Initially, the training of midwives stopped, just like the community and enrolled nurses stopped. So we didn't have straight midwives, like we call them. So nurses who graduated, all female nurses who graduated within a certain time, like me, I'm a nurse midwife.
Okay, so it means you went through RGN?
And I went through midwifery as well. So it's when they went back to training the midwives, that made them feel they should break away and form their own association. But then initially we were just one big happy family. And we still choose to believe that we are their mothers, so we are still one big happy family.
Did you at any point feel that there could be, aside the government, do you think, well, I'm just thinking, there could even be members within our association or the GRNMA that may have even sponsored some of these activities?
At the time, I would not think so. I would say that it was personal interest. And like they wanted to be seen and known.
Okay.
You're a psychiatric nurse, so you know what it is like. You have those who really want the psychopaths. They want to be seen and heard, so they will push on to get to where they want to. And that is how I saw it initially. I tried to talk to some of them, but
did you at any point feel that, well, this could be the end of us?
No.
Okay.
They can never break the front of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association.
Why do you say so?
Because of what they have passed through. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association started in 1960. They have crawled, they have walked, they have fallen, they have gotten up, and they are still pushing on. So you can't say that, oh, because 3 or 4 of my members say they are going, I'm going to sit down and fold up my arms. No. There are fighters among the association who are fighting for the welfare of nurses. And we are handing it over. It's being handed over from generation to generation. So there's nothing like, oh, we are going to collapse. We are nowhere near collapsing. Wow. We are learning and we are building on what we have learned. In 10 years' time, their mode of operations will be different. But then it's still the same association. So we are looking at how we are going to get where we are going. We have a long way to go. Cool. And once they are training nurses in this country and to this country, we are going to go on. And what Kweku failed to tell you is that we have the support of the International Council of Nurses.
I was actually going to come to that.
There's a video of you at one of the ICN programs.
We are going to show us at the and every 4 years we go. We are a member country, we have voting powers there and everything. But then these other associations, they succeeded in they still have to pass through us.
That's interesting.
Right.
I really, looking at the situation now, makes me not be so much worried listening to the story, because we are experiencing quite similar stories in the present. I would have thought that, oh, is this just happening? It looks like it's a cycle of things. So we want you to guide us in how to go forward from here. But before I come back to that, I want to hear the story so that we can take a commercial break on the formation or the name change. Because I remember the name change bit happened in Zoti, or the activity to mark the name change was Zoti, yes. But give us the whole story about the name change and the activity of that time.
Honestly, the activities that these other groups sought to undertake to break our front didn't succeed because of two major advantages that we earned. The first, what Yvonne mentioned, the fact that we have the collective bargaining certificate, and that described us, or that pushed us up as the elite group amongst all the associations, because the government was not going to give a collective bargaining certificate to any other group but one. That is to say that if you are a group and it becomes fragmented, it is only one collective bargaining certificate that will be given to the association.
Okay.
And because we were the elite group, we were the group that held the collective bargaining certificate. And so if it came to a point that we were going to negotiate for conditions of service or any emolument for the members, it was the Ghana Registered Nurses Association that will be requested to come forward and negotiate on behalf of the other groups. So that was a big advantage. The other big advantage was also the recognition that we gained at the international front. We were members of the International Council of Nurses, the Commonwealth Nurses and Midwives Federation, and the Public Services International. These three major reputable international groups of nurses and midwives recognize only the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. So even when we attended conferences and any member of the other group wanted to attend, they will ride at our backs to get to the international level conferences. Right, so when the agitations, coming directly to the last question you asked, when the agitations kept coming, the midwives group that didn't leave to join the other government registered midwives association reasoned that it was important. They reasoned with that it was important to consider changing the name from Ghana Registered Nurses Association to Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. In fact, it was an idea that we considered to be good enough, even try as much as we did to ask them to, go on thinking along these lines. They wouldn't budge.
You wanted them to ignore the change?
Yes, we wanted them to ignore the change, but they wouldn't. And at a point in time, we felt that if we do not give in and allow the change and the name change to happen, a lot more of them will also leave and join the Government Registered Midwives Association. So at a conference in WA, one of those conferences in WA,
was it a delegates conference?
It was a delegates conference in WA. we brought that to the attention of the members, and they agreed, because the national executive alone couldn't have taken that decision, and the president alone couldn't have taken that decision either. So we brought it to the delegates conference, which actually is the highest decision making of the association. So at the WA conference, it was agreed that we accept the name change. Oh, wow. So we returned from the conference back to the headquarters here, and we processed all the necessary documentation to give way to the change of the name from the Ghana Registered Nurses Association to the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. And so it came to be, I'm trying to recall the year and give you, but it happened.
I think it's around 2015 or
2015, 2015. Yeah. When we organized that conference in WA, and it happened at the time that I was president of the association.
So I have the correction that it's actually started from 2013.
The agitation.
Then when you came back in Accra, okay, the agitation started in 2013.
2013. And we held the WA conference in 2013 or 2014 or so.
Yeah.
So that was the time that it started. And so it was a well-planned thing, and it was also well executed. It was welcomed by all the nurses and midwives who were members of the GRNA at that time. Okay. And so we transitioned from GRNA to GRNMA. Yeah. Nothing changed, because all the program of that we had lined up continued. It didn't change any of the structural positioning of the association at all.
Okay.
And our
the constitution remained the same.
The constitution remained the same. It was only that change, that aspect of the constitution that was changed to with regards to the name, the nomenclature title name for the association. And we have remained stronger ever, from that time.
Yeah.
And the midwives amongst us have been happier, I must say. And so, interestingly, some of the members of the association who even left to join the government registered midwives association returned to us. And as I said, we also have the CD power. That is to say that our financial position was strongest among God's association. We could do all the exciting things that money could buy, because we had the numbers, and because we had existed for a very long time. We had built our financial position, and we could do a lot of things for our members, which the other groups couldn't afford to do. Because, for instance, we are the association that has been able to transform the association's face in terms of physical infrastructure build up.
Don't go too much. Don't go too much. That is a whole thing you have to address. Don't go too much. Okay. I will take a comment from Madam Yvonne, and then we'll come back. But we'll go for a break and come back for you to tell us about those achievements, those infrastructure, the things that have given us a very unique new face. A colleague came down to Ghana, and they needed a place to stay before they transit to another country. And the person calls, and I say, oh, you can just check in at a close hotel nearby the airport. And he says, that would be too expensive. I said, are you not a nurse from Malawi? I said, okay, just get there, give me a call, give the location. And say, nurses, you have a whole hotel at this? And since then, she carried good news about us. But we learned so much that most of these infrastructure came during your time. maybe it's one of those traps that we laid and we have gotten you here. So kudos, but we want you to tell us more about that. Now, you are a nurse midwife. When did that change of name happen? Doctor is saying that there was joy, but you were with the association, GRNA, and at the same time midwife. How did it feel with you? Were you okay?
Basically, I'm a nurse.
Okay.
The midwifery is an added profession. So my basic is nursing. But then the midwives that were coming in, their basic is midwifery. So if we leave them out, it's going to cause confusion there. That is why the association thought it wise to bring them on. And that is why the Government Midwives Association started, because we already have a Ghana Registered Midwives Association. And like he said, they are private midwives who have set up their association. So with me, it was a cool transition, and for me, I can relate with both.
Yeah.
Because I am both. But then it came in at a time where it needed to come in.
Okay.
But then we can't add all other names. We can't
I was coming there.
Enrolled, we can't add.
Because I would have also argued that, okay,
yes,
psychiatric group.
But psychiatry, you're nurses.
Yes.
So your basic is nursing. Midwifery is a different profession on its own.
Okay.
So it becomes necessary that they are included into the association.
Okay. So that you can give them a base.
Yes.
Then we also have groups within the association.
Yes.
How do you reconcile all these other groups within the association?
I'll relate it to a church.
Okay.
You have the church. They have the different groups. Women's fellowship, men's fellowship, what have you, what have you. And that is the same way the association is running.
Okay.
So we have the psychiatric nurses, we have
general nurses,
we have midwives,
public health,
critical care nurses.
Yes.
And they have something in common. That is why they have come. We even have the nurse educators group.
Exactly.
This is to educate the nurses. Peri-operative group, like the name says, they are within the operating this thing. And when they meet, they have peculiar things to talk about. But then they all come under the umbrella of the Ghana Registered Nurses Association. So after their meetings, when they come back, they come to give the Ghana Registered Nurses Association a report on their activities. So the activities then becomes part of the Ghana Registered Nurses Association. So they are not different from us.
Okay.
Yes.
And does it include when you are putting up conditions of service, because you will better understand from each group what they want?
Yes, yes, it does. And the president will tell you, you have to go through all that to come up with where to peg for this, because they are professionals on their own. And in the future, we are going to see more professionals. We're going to have nurses who go into traumatology, nephrology, whatever.
Yeah.
So you're going to have nephrotic nurses. And they are a special
group.
So they are specialists on their own. They are nurse specialists. And we have to take all that into consideration when we are bargaining for whatever is due to us.
I see. Many have argued, quite recently, about the fact that, okay, the conditions are reserved, the juicy part of the conditions are reserved for just the seniors. And so when it comes down, you see that just the seniors are getting the best part of it, and and the juniors always are the ones struggling, and it's not getting up there, it's only staying up there. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, looking historically, has it always been the case? Why is that the case? I mean, how do we understand these differences in the first place?
Have you seen the picture of a tree with its roots before?
Yeah.
The roots go down and it starts from the bottom. You can't get to the top of the tree if you don't start from the roots. So it's not automatic that when you join the nursing force, you should be considered to get better remuneration, better accommodation and things. You start from somewhere, and it is step by step. So you go gradually. There are few that I've spoken to that want to rush through things. And there's this adage that says, haste makes waste. So you have to take your time to understand. It took me 10 years to get from qualifying as a registered nurse to going to university. Now someone comes out of the classroom and then is in university. But by the time I got to the university, I was well seasoned. So even though I knew most of what they were teaching, they were still adding someone. The government thinks it's wise to work for 3 years before you go to school. But then we are in a hurry. And then you find out that you go through school, when you come to the ward, what do? You have no idea of what is happening on the ward. And nursing is such that you have to work with the patient. You have to know what about the patient that you are looking for. I won't go to the part that bleeds my heart of us leaving most of our work for relatives. But there are reasons why you're supposed to bath the patient. You're not just bathing, you're looking for, what do they call it? Other observations.
Whilst you're bathing.
Which you would miss if the relatives do.
Maybe they're tired, they'll say they are bedded, they don't have enough staff. But this is a very important point, very, very important point. Very.
But there are more nurses than there were in our time.
Fair.
Now the relatives are 7-bed pan. How do you know the amount of stool that the person has passed? The color, the consistency. We are missing all that. I was going to say that the modern nurse has their advantages and their disadvantages. But then we're not going there now.
Okay.
What we have to know is that we cannot be all on the same sheet.
But they said they're also struggling.
We are all struggling.
Yes.
But you start from somewhere. You don't start from the top.
Okay.
And what do? Come down.
Start from
the bottom and you climb up gradually. And if you know you're doing what is right, what you're supposed to do, the amount of remuneration you get will not be important. The most important thing will be your satisfaction at the end of the day. I have worked well and I have earned this. And God has a way of blessing us. No matter how little it is, it will take you to the end of the next month. But then, easy come, easy go.
Not.
You are fighting to get the same amount of money that doctor is getting. What have you done? You know the number of years that he has struggled to get where he is. He knows, and he will know how to manage his funds. But if you are given the same amount, within 2 weeks, we would have squandered all. And it will take us back to square one.
You speak so passionately about the nursing side of things. I'm sure we'll do a quick touch on that.
She has been a manager for a long time. So
incredible.
But if you permit me to add this bit, you see, it saddens my heart to hear that a junior nurse who has not even practiced nursing for 2 years will wish to get what the nurse who has practiced for 20 years want to get. It is not a pleasant thing to say because we are working for them as well.
Exactly.
And it has always been our wish that they also get a better remuneration. But let me say that we are colleagues. We are not colleagues of equal status. I do remember very well that when we're negotiating for the remuneration on the single sponsor structure, we used 13 factors to evaluate. So the term here is evaluation of the work that one does. Now, when you go through the 13 factors, there are some that the skills of the junior nurse will not measure up to. Right?
That of the senior nurse.
To that of the senior nurse. And so when we brought out in the final, so the designing of the conditions of service, we do not depart from the realities of the determination of salaries for workers. So when we bring everything to the table, then the professionals or the technologies also determine for you whether we are bringing to the table appeals to good reasoning. And that is where the negotiation starts. And the final analysis, we put ours there, they put theirs there, we negotiate and we come to a common agreement. I tried on many occasions to educate nurses about the categories of allowances. Some people would definitely not earn it when it comes to categories. So we have that in the understanding that prevailed and the education that was given to us and the determination that we arrived at. We had about 4 categories of allowances. So in negotiating for conditions of service, we bring all these things into account. Category 1, allowance, fair wages and salaries commission made us aware that one is always already incorporated into the salaries and the emoluments of public sector workers, because these are the reason that every nurse takes transport to go to work. Cost of living keeps rising every now and then. So category 1, allowance, takes care of that. That has already been incorporated into the allowances of public sector workers. Then category 2 and 3 allowances were put together. These allowances are earned by public sector workers at a certain level. So we can mention some of them as your car maintenance allowance. That is also even based on whether you have a car or not, a vehicle. And if you have a vehicle, there are even conditions attached to it. If you will even end that if you use your car partly for the work that is assigned to you. So if, excuse me to say, if a community health nurse, a rural nurse who has just passed out and has practiced nursing for 2 years, doesn't have a car, how does he earn the allowance?
But he has a motor.
Yes, that is if he has. That is if he has. But consider something here too. If Auntie Yvonne has, let's say, an SUV vehicle, and I have a motorbike,
consumption of fuel.
Do we earn the same allowance for it? Because he earns, she will earn more allowance for her petrol. I will earn less for my motorbike. But even if I don't happen to be owning a motorbike, I don't even earn the allowance. And these are some of the things that came to play, and most people didn't understand. And if you are an officer, he was a district director, and so he was entitled to free accommodation. And that is what the structure has already, the system has already been designed.
Because it recognizes the public sector worker structure thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So
you are sort of pairing alongside it.
Yes.
And then adding a few more additions based on your work or your category as a nurse.
So even if we succeeded in getting no accommodation allowance for the nurses across board, that one of Yvonne will go higher than the others. So you can't say that you want to earn the same allowance with her, even if we succeeded in getting that allowance. I was an educationist. I was practiced as an educationist because that was my line of specialization. So by virtue of the fact that I was also a principal of a school, I also was entitled to free accommodation. And how can a state registered nurse who has qualified for 1 or 2 years earn a bungalow as I was earning or as Yvonne was earning? You see, so these are some of the challenges that we face as we try to explain things to our colleagues, but they will still want to forget about climbing the tree from its root to the top, as Yvonne illustrated. But so it was one of the challenges that we came to face once this. But we did very well in this collective agreement that we managed, to design and got implemented for nurses and midwives. But in some of the situations, we also, after struggling so hard, government will determine that, yes, I can only give you this. And I can give you this for this category of your members and that category of your members. But that is what some of our colleagues didn't understand.
Wow.
And most of them thought that we didn't do a good work. But we really did a good work.
Exactly. When sometimes some colleagues or comrades will say, they just went for themselves and they came back.
So that is the explanation.
Let me add on to one. They negotiated for specialists.
Yeah.
Nurse specialists. And it will please you to know that they are very comfortable. But he wasn't a specialist. Like he said, he was an educator. He didn't negotiate for educated. He negotiated for specialists. And the nurse specialists are up there.
Sure.
And he still had to lead to negotiate for them.
Yes.
For specialists. If you single me out as an educator, probably it won't fit.
No, all the educators.
Yes, all the educators, yes. But because of the unique position I was
occupied as
training perioperative nurse specialists and critical care nurses, I took my specialty actually in critical care nursing. So I was a specialist in critical care. But not all the nurse educators. That is what he's talking about. So if I'm negotiating for specialists, fortunately, but most of my colleague educators
I'm
were
talking you as the association.
Yes, sure. For me as an association, I wouldn't go in for what the specialists are in because I will negotiate. But no matter what it is, I will negotiate for specialists. But if I don't happen to become a specialist, because I go in as an association, a leader, I won't pick the specialists, but I will negotiate on that one on behalf of all specialists.
All right. All right. There was a part that I wanted to understand about this market premium thing. What was the market premium about? And it's still there. We still have market premium. What is the market premium?
A lot of people made,
and this will be a brief one so that we can go for a quick
lot
break.
of people made big noise about single-span salary structure, as though the government has pushed public sector workers at the roof. That wasn't the case. I happen to be at the gallows of all the from scratch negotiating for this under single-span salary structure. Government, through Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, determined what they thought was juicy as the basic pay for nurses, for public sector workers. But we found out that there was a very big disincentive, a very big disincentive to us as health sector professionals. So what you consider or what you know about market premium emanated from the protests that the health professionals who were doing the negotiations came up with, and said that we cannot go home with this paltry sum that we will earn from the basic pay from the single-span salary structure, even though it was just a little higher than what the GUSS, the previous one, was given. But so government thought that it was better. But when you compute that in numerical terms, in figures, it was something very small. So we reasoned with government that no health professional will be, comfortable with this. So going back and forth, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission made a proposal, which we negotiated, and that was considered to be a market premium. That means that we are putting a value on you as a professional. And the determination of the market premium was hinged on certain terms and values. One, if you are a health professional, what amount of or what number of years did it take you to train as a health professional? If government loses you, that is, if you resign from work, if you go on retirement, how many years will it take for government to find someone like you to put in its place? And if you are not in service, how much will the service suffer from your absence and the skills that you have, with regards to the skills that you have acquired? So it was determined that we force government, actually that is the term I should use, we force government through Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to put value on the health professional. And that is what we described as the market premium. Market premium. And if you are not there, how much the work will suffer. Because we in the negotiation, we proved to government that we do matter in the health service delivery. And so we also looked at the caliber of health professionals that were in. That is why some health professionals also earned higher than other health professionals, because we looked at the number of years you go through training. If you are on the job, what do you do particularly? What value do you bring to lift up the quality of healthcare service delivery?
You wanted to say something.
I wanted to say, in short, it's just how marketable are you?
Mm-hmm. Right. How marketable are you?
When you take a staff nurse,
how
marketable is that staff nurse? Remove the staff nurse. Who can you put in the staff nurse's place to work? Someone who completes SS cannot come and stand on the ward and do the job of a staff nurse. Like he said, they've inculcated skills and knowledge onto you. And that is the criteria that they were looking at. And now we are talking about attrition of nurses. How are we going to replace those nurses? Even though we have a backlog of nurses, they've been at home for a while. So when they come onto the ward. There will have to be retraining because they can't start working at once. So the experienced ones have left. And then we have to train those that are there.
Right. So
all that was taken into consideration when they went for the negotiation.
right.
Let's take a water break because this part is very exciting for me. It's awakening a whole lot of thought in my head, and I'm sure it's doing same in the minds of all others watching, especially watching on to see training of some auxiliary groups to fill in the gaps, and then it takes away the value, and even education, the entry levels, that we have to move it a bit higher so that the value strengthens. If we are still at diploma, can we push it even to degree? Because I know that conversation is happening. It's happening. It's supposed to be a very short conversation, but it's taken very long because this information, you can take your time, sit down, sit and watch. I am learning so much, and I didn't know there was so much to learn like this, but we are really grateful. We are going to take a quick water break. It's been a very long part, and then we'll come back and then finish on some of the achievements that have been chalked so far. Then most importantly, we take lessons, recommendations, learnings on forging ahead as an association. What can we do as the Gen Zs, like they say, as the new generation? And what can we pick from the older generation to build up the association and forge forward that we want to see? There's so much information in them. One day we need to have just one live session. You just be available for our audience to see. But for the purposes of this show, we'll take a break and come back. You need some water to quench your thirst. So we'll go for a break and we'll come back shortly. Production.
Use the opportunities that I have as a nurse educationist and the principal of a tertiary nursing education and the president of the Nurse Association of Ghana to influence policy so that we can come on top of issues. We obviously, nurses and midwives, are the largest, we've constituted the largest population of healthcare professionals all over the world across the healthcare continuum. So much responsibility is given to nurses, and we must ensure that if much is given to us, much will be expected from us. You know, I have always been saying that when knowledge grows, your influence multiplies. So I want to grow, help nurses grow their knowledge so that they will be able to multiply their influence and affect the system so positively, so they can move ahead. Today we have had the opportunity to listen to the work of Florence Nightingale and what she's true for. And I believe that at the time that Florence rose up against the challenges, we didn't have the equipment that we are having at the moment. At the time that Florence was going around when everybody was asleep in the night, we didn't have electricity to lighten up the environment for her. Innovations, improvisations, and being more assertive than we are, and also knowing that the solutions to the problems are in our very hands. If I resolve that in my labor ward, no mother will deliver here and die. If I am aware that in this neonatal intensive care unit, no infant will die. If I make that resolve, no matter the limited equipment in my hands, I will be able to ensure that I record almost at 0% of infant or neonatal death or maternal death in my maternity ward or labor ward. That's how I feel.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This video was created to strengthen the voice of nursing worldwide. Please share it with a few of your friends. Thanks again.
morning, comrades. I'm happy to come to you this morning to wish you a happy anniversary. Today is 20th March 2025, and in the history of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, we are 65 years today. Founded on March 20th, 1960, we have come a long way in the 65 years of the association, leading with vision, ensuring the welfare of members, and ensuring that we are players within the health space. Today, as we mark the 65th anniversary of the association, we have set out plans for bigger celebration on Friday the 28th. So on this very day of our birth, I wish you all a happy anniversary, and I call on you to wish each member of the association a happy anniversary. We have a lot to be proud of. Our leaders from 1960 to date have done wonderfully for the association in terms of welfare for members and ensuring that we position ourselves in such a place to influence policy within the health sector. Today, as we mark our 65th anniversary, I call on all of you to feel very proud because we have our GRNA, the only GRNA and no other. We should be proud of ourselves. I wish you a happy 65th anniversary and hope to see you all in person and online on 28th. See you.
So it is the special edition of the Nurses Cafe. And the Nurses Cafe, I think if you are now learning about it, it's GRNMA's own version of a TV where we bring to you very exciting topics for discussions. It can be event-based or, planned or programmed. But this one is special in many ways because it is to mark the 65th anniversary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. This is just one of the events that's supposed to happen. And so far, we've been engaging with some of our past presidents and past executives who have been exciting us with so much learnings. For me, I've been so much excited about everything I'm learning today. And I will want you to take your time, go back and watch everything that has been happening. But stick and stay right here. We are going to have some concluding part of this event, and we are going to zoom straight to understand some of the achievements and infrastructure. And I remember seeing on my pay slip building levy, and I was like, what are the buildings? What happened? What led to the building levy, and what became of the building levy?
Achievements. Talking about achievement, let me start off from what GRNMA has been able to achieve at the international front.
Great.
Now, we have been very resolute and formidable on the ground in supporting the ideals of the International Council of Nurses to drive the values of nurses across the world. And GRNMA has earned a lot of reputation and recognition at the international level. And during my tenure, having built on what my predecessors had done, we were awarded the bronze medal at one of our conferences in Singapore. In the year 2018.
Okay.
Yes, when we went to record. So the recognition was given to Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association as the best in Africa. And that is why we were awarded the bronze medal. That's one achievement. The second achievement is that now you do remember that in the year 2020, the World Health Organization declared that year as the International Year of the Nurse.
Yes.
And the GRNMA, as one of the group members that were elected to negotiate with the World Health Organization to ensure that the year 2020 was declared as the International Year of the Nurse. So GRNMA was part of the negotiating team. At one of our conferences in Malta, we were also given a praiseworthy ovation there as Ghana still standing out as the best in Africa. That was also part of the achievement. We are coming back home. During the tenure of Mrs. Ellen Banga, may her soul rest in peace, Mrs. Banga of blessed memory, the Building Levy Fund was instituted. That was the time that we thought that we could have our own personal edifice, which we could use as the headquarters of the association. So that was the time that the building levy was instituted. And the leadership at that time determined that after we had built our headquarters, the building fund will no longer or will cease to be compulsory for collection.
Okay.
But after we had been able to collect some money to put up the edifice that we now use as our headquarters, the building levy fund continued. And at that time, nurses and midwives, members of the association, didn't show much concern about forcing the leadership to stop the building levy. It went on until at the time of Mrs. Alistair Kwan as a relative's presidency, that they said, since we have collected so much money, we kept on collecting money, even though we said that we will stop it at a point in time, which we hadn't, and so it should be stopped. So the leadership at that time made a special appeal to the nurses for us to go continue, because it will be good for nurses to build up financial strength and position if we had that fund in our accounts. And so the agitations to get the building levy fund stopped died down. And at the time of Mrs. Alote, during my time, it resurfaced. So at one of
the agitations?
The agitations started to stop the building fund. But at one of our congresses, delegate conferences, we made an appeal to them that if we have an edifice which we use as our head office, which we were able to build through a nurses fund, why can't we continue so that we replicate the building structures across the country? That one, replicate that one we have as our headquarters in the other regions. At that time, under the leadership of Mrs. Alote, we had built the we had built only the Koforidua one, yes, but the first phase of Koforidua. And during the time that I was president, I said that we could do the same in all the other regions. So a strong appeal was made, and it was the nurses conference agreed, delegates conference agreed that if that was going to be, then we could continue to collect the building fund. And it posed as a big challenge to us, because if you are going to promise the members that we will do this, we have to do it at all costs. So our hands were tied. So when we returned from conference, National Council planned to implement this decision. And so massive infrastructure acquired there.
And they are doing magic.
Yes. But we didn't build on that one.
Oh.
we said we could reserve that one because the leadership at that, my leadership at that time influenced the CEO of the
teaching hospital.
Central Regional or the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital to give us a vast land on which we were able to build our land. So during my tenure, honestly, we did a lot of infrastructure development, built edifices for our association. The first, after the Koforidia, was the WA one.
Yes.
And then other regions also followed. At the time, by the time we were leaving office, we had all building structures in all the regions. It was only 2 that were yet to be completed, but we had started. And we also pulled down 1-story structure behind the behind our headquarters, and the council agreed that we lift up an 8-story structure that we could use as a 4-star hotel edifice for the association. At the time we were leaving office, it was about 75% completed, and which we are trusting God the current leadership will be able to complete, and then it will imprint a solid image for the association for what we have done. Many nurses have patronized the the usage of the building structures in all the regions, and I myself gathered a lot of information and report on it before I left office, and I still believe that most nurses are patronizing the offices.
Let me ask you something here. Why do you speak about this achievement with so much smiles on your face?
Well, for me, it was success achieved because we went to Congress to promise nurses that we won't stop the building levy, but we will use it to replicate all the structure, the headquarters structure and the Koforidia one. And that happened. And so I'm smiling because by the time we're leaving office, the members had acknowledged that we had done what we promised. And that is a feather in the cap of the executive at that time, that I only supervised what we had promised to do with your building levies. That is why it makes me feel glad that one of the fond memories of success is this one particular achievement.
I'll come back to you. I'm enjoying this. Now, also, we were talking about fractions here and there, challenges here and there. As a manager, what does it look like going forward? How can we take examples from Dr. Asante Krobia, giving promises to members, making sure we achieve them, calming tensions down, making sure that we are all moving in that direction. Regardless of the situation, we realize that we have a goal to achieve together. How do we do this? I mean, from your past experiences, what are the learnings? What do we need to always be considering going forward to keep the membership to its motto of unity and strength?
I was going to start from the motto, and you said its motto. Yes, unity is strength. So first of all, we have to be united. And how do we become united? We have to recognize every group in the association or every group in nursing as being important, and in ensuring that they get what is due them. When he was talking about the hostels, he was talking with so much passion, and I was listening carefully. But one thing he didn't raise was that it gave the nurses in the districts, in the regions, something to see, something to stand on. So we are not paying the building levy for paying sake. They have used it to build for us to see. So that when I move from Accra and I go to Cape Coast, all I need to do is to mention my staff ID.
Yes.
And then I get accommodation at a very low price, very comfortable accommodation.
Very.
Because mind you, Cape Coast, we are a 2-star hotel now.
Yeah, yeah. Really elevated service.
Yes.
Very good. Credit to the team and Alfred Adi.
Adi and his team.
They have done
really
well.
well. And credit to some of us too, because
yes.
we are on their necks.
We laid the foundation.
We are on their necks.
Yes.
Oh, not laying the foundation, but we are on their necks to make sure that
maintenance.
It goes on this thing. Because if we built and it's not maintained,
great,
then what they came to do is null and void. But coming back to what we are discussing, if you could remind me a bit.
I mean, forging together.
Coming back, them seeing this, give them the feeling of belongingness.
Exactly.
And if you don't belong, you cannot unite. So they have the feeling of belongingness to the association. And then that is key. So if you belong, like Kweku and I, if it comes to disagreement, we will disagree. But we are disagreeing for the future of the association. Like the accounts will say, so we should be able to come together to move on ahead. He has done his bit. He's put up the structures. We are maintaining the structures. Are we going to add on? What are we going to add on? How are we going to do it? And that is what we should be looking at in the future. And in as much as we are looking at the structures, we are not ignoring the workforce. We need to look at them as well, because they are our brothers and sisters. Me, unfortunately or fortunately for me, like he said, I was a manager and I was a union leader as well. So I had a way of bullying my way through to getting the nurses to go to school. But when it comes to study leave, they'll give you a limited number of nurses to go to school, which cannot be. We are the largest force in the health services. So when they are giving out their portions, they should look at us first. And after looking at the nurses, then they give the scraps to the others. They shouldn't give to the others and give us the scraps. We are not here for scraps. We are here for the main deal. And we carry the health force. Because if you go into a hospital and there's no nurse, the first thing they'll say is, oh, this is not a good hospital. They need to see a nurse there. But then, going into the future, the nurses need to sit up. They have to control the hospitals. When I went into nursing, the hospital belonged to the matron.
Yes.
All other people who came were visitors. So the doctor was a visitor, pharmacist was a visitor, the lab technologist was a visitor, and the hospital belonged to the nurses. So if you go into a ward and the nurse is not ready for ward rounds, it doesn't happen. But now they sit down, they're on the phones. The phones have their positive and negative.
They said today we are doing digital information management
that's
system.
why I said it has their positive and negatives. If you're using your phone well on the ward, it gives you loads of information. We are human, we tend to forget. you've learned so much in nursing training, and you come out. There's some things you're bound to forget. But with your phone, you go and see a diagnosis, you quickly Google. And when you Google, you get an idea of what you are dealing with.
Yeah.
That's the positive aspect. Then you look for alternative methods of dealing with that case. Because there's not only one method. And with digitalization, that is where it's taking us. But then, unfortunately for us, most of us are there sending messages and we are on TikTok, Instagram, all those things.
Are you on TikTok?
I have a daughter. I have daughters.
Okay.
But then, we should use it to advantage on the ward.
Yeah.
And not to the disadvantage of our clients.
All right.
Now they say our patients are clients.
Yeah.
You are millennial. They were patients to us. We did everything for them.
Yeah.
Now they are clients. So they are doing most of the things for themselves. But then the clients do have their rights, just like you have your responsibility. Now there are lots of suing going on.
Yeah.
And when it happens that way, they call you because you were there.
Yeah.
It happened under this. The computers have made it easy.
Yes.
Now there's e-medicine and things. So you just go to the computer, you get instructions from your doctor on the computer. You write your notes on the computer and things. Let us take time and document. You only go to the law court if you don't document.
Mm-hmm.
Once you document it like it is, nobody can pull you anywhere. So let us find a few minutes away from our phones so we can write our reports. Because our reports are very important. And right now, because of this e-medicine, a patient's folder or a client's folder does not get missing.
Exactly.
It is always there. You just have to key in either the health insurance number or the number that was given to them by the hospital. And you get, so it's a continuity, which is a plus. And we should go on from there.
Okay.
So I would wish that the association would take up the retrainings group by group on these computer-related things. Some of us, we were born before computer, even though we used it. We are the unique group.
Yeah.
From handwritten to typewriter to computer. But then you are the Gen Zs, and then you are going this way. But in as much as you are going the computer way, let us not forget the human touch.
Exactly.
The human touch is very important when it comes to nursing. So let's not depend on what we read. Let's go and check for ourselves. Let us see. I don't know if it still happens, but during ward rounds, you check everybody's pulse to make sure they are alive before they hand over.
People are modifying the word rounds.
Right now, they even hand over when they're in the bus going home, then they'll hand over to the one coming in, which is wrong. Let us have just a little time to attend to our clients so we do not get ourselves into trouble. And we receive the blessings from the Almighty.
Amen.
Because he came in and he said healing was part of his ministry. And we are in the healing ministry. Let us have that healing touch so that we'll be able to take care of our clients properly and raise them up.
On that healing note, I'm coming to Evangelist to give us some stuffed toys closing. Now, you have about 1 minute to 2 to give us your last words. But on the healing note, what's the way forward? I mean, briefly, the way forward as an association, how can we overcome the hurdles that we are in, the one that's unforeseen? What exactly?
Well, we acknowledge that we, some midwives, form about 65% of the health workforce across the continuum of care. And so much is given to us.
Yeah.
And God, the God we serve, we expect that if so much is given to us, so much will be required from us. So we mustn't rest on our oars. It poses a big challenge to us. If things go well in the healthcare delivery, we are supposed to be praised the more. But if things go wrong, we are supposed to be blamed the more because we command the numbers. And we should endeavor to lift up our skills so that you'll be able to deliver. I saw one of my speeches in an international conference, me saying that our determination was to grow the knowledge of nurses so that we can multiply our influence in the health sector as we deliver care. One of the achievements that we have been able to chalk was that we've been able to turn all the post-basic programs now here from advanced diploma or diploma into degree awarding.
Exactly.
Under my leadership. And I feel proud to say that it was my brainchild idea, which was supported by government and health training institutions. So like we have led nurses to an open door, and we believe that they can fly, right? We have led from what we have been able to do, all these achievements that we have recounted. It's an open door that we have given to nurses and midwives in this generation. And like Kenny said, I believe you can fly. We too believe that it can fly, taking advantage of what we have been able to lay down for them as foundations. We are counted on the achievement of our predecessors, and what they handed down to us, we were able to build on, and so they have to continue. I must say that to encourage nurses that a nail, has no use if it cannot hold two pieces of wood together. Yeah. And so if we constitute the nails that the health sector is using to build the broken structures, repair the broken structures, they must ensure that they must be found at all times, be found useful. I encountered a professor during my doctoral studies that if you have been given a certain position as a leader and you have been mindful of leadership succession, know that after serving for 10 years in an organization or institution, you must know that there is somebody who can do the job better than you. Yes, it was a big challenge to us. And so that is why when I was exiting office, I said that for what we have been able to do by God's grace, I believe that Perpetua would do better than I did. And I'm seeing the signs. And so I will stand on this to encourage all those that are still in it. That I feel very proud casting my eyes around and looking back that the people I gathered and brought under my school of mentorship are making a very good impression on the association. And they must endeavor to keep it up. So I reiterate my assertion that from what we did, we brought you to an open door. We believe that you can fly. We gave you the feathers. We provided the tune with which you can, the strengths by which you can strike a tune of concord. Solidify our unity and let our slogans speak for us. So as we look forward to celebrating a good Sapphire anniversary, that is the 65 years of our existence, my position is that we can do more than we have even imagined. So let us not rest on our oars. association must move forward.
Nice.
We are there to support at any time that you call upon us. God giving us the strength. So the healing, we are in a healing ministry, and we must endeavor to heal. Put confidence in our clientele that nurses cannot be done without. That's my point.
Look, my notes are full. Eh? I don't know. Okay. You need to dash me more notes parts. Would you want to add some last words to what?
All I'll add is, as nurses, we have our nurses' pledge. It's a pledge that we recite. Let's not recite it for reciting's sake. Let us live it. Let's make it part of our lives. And the midwifery prayer as well. Let's live the nurses' pledge in the midwifery prayer. And it will go a long way to help us. And in helping us, it will enable us to help others. And it will bring our minds back to the association, because I think now the nurses' pledge is only said at association functions. Unlike my time where every morning you had to recite it. Now it's only when the association is having a function. And I'm sure if I asked you to recite the pledge, you stop halfway.
I have a pour here.
You stop halfway.
Yeah.
But let's live it.
Yeah.
And let us bring it to the association level. And like Doc rightly said, if we are able to get everything in place, we'll reach the skies. Thank you very much.
So, I came to class, leadership class, went for management class, and I'm privileged to be back into the media seat. And this media seat, I feel, was under the authority of Mrs. Perpetua. And she significantly thought about putting this one up, because everything you spoke about, everything we are doing, needs also to be communicated out there. We need to engage our people. And I have learned a lot. Maybe some key things I picked from all of you. You speak with passion, you've worked with passion. You're resilient, you're resolute, you are focused, and you mentored. And in all these aspects, you have left legacies. And for this reason, we will continue to remain united for the strength of the association, for the strength of its members, and for the strength of the health of all. On this note, I'm really grateful for you for having reserved all the energy in you for the day. And those of you are going to do that after here, to sit down and work. We know those of you who go and set agenda with all the nitty-gritties, but it's good. Go and watch. Leave your comments. We have just begun the 65th anniversary, and our elders are here, and they are going to be with us. Your questions, you can always drop them. We'll send it to them. They will respond. We'll come and share with you. But I've been heavily supported by the production team, together by Clint, Mauli, Solomon Ajao, and then the Ada governor himself, who is here with me, Adato Coleman, Jefferson, Edith. Everyone have been here, Robert, and then my boss, who is Reverend, have significantly played a role in seeing that this production comes to fruition. We are also grateful to the planning committee for having held us together by giving us all the filler and the info, and even making sure that we have our special guests to come and sit here with us all the way from the afternoon till now. We are extremely grateful. We are extremely grateful to the leadership of the association, from national to the regions, to the districts, and to the various community facilities. We are grateful for having supported us to this far, and we will continue and want to engage with you. Stick and stay for the rest of the activities that will be unfolding this week and next week. And if you have any concerns, don't hesitate. But the most important part of it is for us to be united as we forge ahead. We are at the door. It has been opened for us, and we should fly. Thank you. Graced.